I'll call this meeting to order. The chair, Michelle, is at the municipal convention and meetings that are being held in Pierre, and I am sitting in for her for the rest of this week. So with that, we will go on to Land Use Committee. Chairman Rolfin.
Yes, last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess it is now, we held a meeting, and we looked at the vicious dog ordinance, and we had I'll postpone some decisions on that until to our next meeting. The golf club ordinance, Jeff Schmidt gave us some information on that, and motion passed to take that up to the full committee or full council. So you'll be hearing that very soon. And lastly, we had some information from Paul Bengford on our due process kind of thing, and we're looking at that. There's just some other discussion that needs to happen on that before we bring it any farther. Shapes and places of zoning ordinances with Jeff Schmidt and Sam. We're looking at doing some other things with those. There's some other things that need to be tweaked on that we're going to be looking at. We had a nice presentation by those guys, and we'll bring more information to the full body along there. And lastly, the sign study group, Jeff Schmidt presented that. And again, we had some nice discussion, and we still have some other things that we need to look at before we bring it to the full council. And then we adjourned.
Good. Thank you, Councilor. Are there any questions for Councilor Ralphing? Okay, city open discussion. Councilor Karski.
We'll be having a fiscal committee meeting shortly after this. I imagine a 10-minute break or so after our informational meeting. We've been kind of in a process of a CIP review, how we come to our CIP budget at every year that we just voted on to pass, and quite frankly, that process begins now. So we would like to, Councilor Jameson and I were tasked with, how to, if we need to make the process better or what we can do to add to it. So that'll be our discussion during our fiscal committee meeting today.
Anything else, Greg? Councilor Jameson?
Only that I would add that Thursday there's an exciting audit committee meeting for all of us at 4 o'clock right here in this room. We'll be reviewing the light and power audit, and well as the purchasing and procurement audits. So if you're looking for something to do Thursday, 4 o'clock, audit committee.
Thank you, Councilor Jameson. Is there anything else for open discussion? If there isn't, we'll go on to the presentations, and Director Cooper, please.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. I'm the staff liaison to the CVB bid board, and tonight one of your items on the agenda will be requesting approval of the CVB budget for the next fiscal year, beginning in October and extending through the end of September of next year. This will be the second time that we've been asked to approve the bid budget, which is a portion of the CVB overall budget. And just as a reminder, that comes from the $2 a night room charge of hotels and motels in the city of Sioux Falls. So we thought, since we're approving the budget for the second time tonight, that it would be good to have Terry Schmidt, Executive Director of the CVB, kind of give you an overview today, again, of what does the bid board do, how is that money utilized in the past, and then tonight is more focusing on what's planned for the next fiscal year. And a reminder, too, that that board consists of 9 appointed members who are voting members, appointed by the mayor and city council. Chrissy Spoo is the current chair of that board. And then there are 2 non-voting members, including Council Member Enteman and then Terry Schmidt. So that's one of our advisory boards that we have appointed by you. So with that, I'm going to stand back and let Terry Schmidt start the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, and good afternoon, everybody. you know what? I really appreciate being here. I wish I could come before you a little more often because there are so many things to share with you about what we're doing. Councilor Entenman said I had about an hour-and-a-half limit now this afternoon, right, Jim? Yeah, so, okay. No, I really do appreciate being here. We do so many things, and it seems like it goes so fast that, you know, any time that you have any free space on your agenda, let me know because I'd love to come share some things. As you know, the Sioux Falls CVB works hard to get people to Sioux Falls. That's what our job is. And once we get them here, we want them to increase their spending while they're here because that all adds to our economic base. And the result of all that spending, of course, is increased sales tax and increased room tax. We have been fortunate in that the bed tax, the room tax, is coming in at a good pace this year, as is the bid tax. And so we're pretty much on budget for that. You're going to hear a little bit more about it tonight. But the July room tax check came in at $81,242, which same time last year, $72,000. So that was a good increase. And then the bid came in at $157,180 for July, and we have 2 months to go now until the end of the fiscal year. And we need to equal $282,000 in those 2 months, and then we will have met budget for the income on the bid side. So we're expecting that to happen, and we have our fingers crossed. Things have been moving along quite well. I want to share with you, and I'm going to take my watch off so I can watch the clock because I get going, and you know we could be here till tomorrow.
No, we can't.
No, that's why I'll take my watch off, Jim. Okay. I want to share with you some of the things that we've been doing. The bid, I can't tell you how incredibly positive the bid has allowed us to get out there and do more for Sioux Falls. We finally feel like we're really able to compete the way Sioux Falls should be represented out in the market. We do that through a variety of ways, and I'm going to just skim over things very, very quickly because there's just too much to take too much time and talk about. So we have several marketing pieces, and I've got Vanna White with me here today, and I'm going to kind of hand them to her, and she's going to pass them around. Look, they're all looking. Yeah, see? Okay. We do everything from street pole banners and visitor maps and the new building signage, our packets, our new website, the visitor guides, the billboards, the DVDs, the meeting planner guides, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to start passing around. You all know, of course, that we do this visitor guide, 250,000 of those every year to over 238 locations in Sioux Falls. We deliver those ourselves, get those out there to all the locations. They're no good in a box. We're going to run out. We've only got about 200 boxes left right now, and we have to go through until March. We also do the visitor map for the City of Sioux Falls. Without our good partners, Avera McKinnon and Sanford Health, this map would not be done. We know the high number of visitors that come in for medical purposes, so they join together and sponsor this map for us. So that's the city map for Sioux Falls. We also do the promotion of Falls Park, and we create a refreshed Falls Park brochure every year to market Falls Park. Inside the visitor guide, you know that all the parks are included, all the hotels, and then everyone else that partners with us on that guide. Our visitor interaction numbers are exceeding the 2011 numbers. We have leisure emails that come in. Our goal was 3,000 to receive. We've already exceeded 7,800. And every one of those gets a visitor guide. They sign up for email newsletters, and those are our call to action so that we know what they're doing. Our visitor guides from direct marketing, we've seen a 65.3% increase over the requests this year from last year already. We, as I said, are running out. We've mailed 16,000 visitor guides already this season. We continue to partner with South Dakota Tourism in partnerships. For the first time, we joined with them on the Macy's Day Parade float for $2,500. 271 million people were able to see that and viewed that parade on television. Along with that, to support that were the Giant Step Co-op, the Group Tour Co-op, and the Great Getaways Co-op, all of those equaling almost 3 million hits for visitor direct hits seeing those. We have billboards. You know we had 2 before the bid. We now have 6. We have one right outside of Rapid City coming this way that says, South Dakota's largest city, X number of miles away. We have one over by Mitchell, South Dakota's largest city, this many miles. You know, we want them to know that this is where it's at. This is where the action is. This is the best place to come to. So keep driving. We want you in Sioux Falls. So we have 6 of those billboards out now. Also one north so we can capture the Canadian traveler as well. You may have seen in the media this year that we did a partnership with the Stampede Hockey Club and the Pheasants Baseball Club with a wrap on their bus. It may have seemed a little crazy when we did it, but we studied it, and that bus goes to Canada, Missouri, Nebraska, Texas, Indiana, North Dakota, Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, and Ohio. And those are really a lot of our main markets. So the 52 trips that are taken to those locations throughout the year, they continually will see Sioux Falls in their face, in the face. Another great thing that we did this year that was huge was we launched a new website. Probably one of the most important things that we've done. And that was done in November of, actually last year, since the bid was incorporated. Bold colors, vivid imagery, designed to boost our sales. We wanted people to be able to go and enjoy the experience on the website so that it would make them want to come to Sioux Falls. And the call to action for that was to request a visitor guide or request a meeting planner's guide so that we would be able to track how many people actually were going to the website. Additionally, I'm going as fast as I can here. Additionally, our online and digital strategy has allowed us to continually put what's new in Sioux Falls, keep the changing future of Sioux Falls in the face of the people looking at our website. Again, it might generate an RFP for a convention or a meeting, or they might just ask for our meeting planner's guide. And this is our meeting planner's guide. This is the so-called this is the guts of what Sioux Falls has to offer. Every floor plan, the hotels are in this, the attractions. Now, the nice thing about that book is that we pay for the main pages, but if a hotel or a restaurant wants to be in that book or an attraction, they pay only for their page. We make no money on it, but they partner and step up and pay for their page. So it's a great partnership, works very well, and it goes all over the country. We also do a lot through Google Display Network. We have a click rate through of 0.12%, and the average nationally in the industry is 0.08%, so that's doing very well. We do direct e-blasts. We do a CV beat, and that goes to the Sioux Falls community to let them know what we're doing, what's going on. We do one to travel professionals. They are group tour planners and travel writers. We also do one to leisure visitors, just people looking for a place to perhaps get away for a few days or vacation. And then we do one to the meeting and sports event planners that's very specific to them as planners. We've also signed up and been able to send out an e-postcard about the facilities in Sioux Falls to 10,000 meeting planners, all because of the bid allowing us to be able to invest in these kinds of things. And what that does for us is allow us to qualify our leads so that we can target more in the certain industries and be able to be more specific about who we're going after. Digital strategy, again, it's all of our online awareness and online strategy. We've also had a mobile site that has gone live. Users want the information. We read an article last week that, believe it or not, the trends are that people are getting their information off of their telephones, more than even iPads. So we know that the mobile site for smartphone users is very critical, especially when people are here in Sioux Falls. They might want to say, okay, where can I get the best steak in Sioux Falls? All they have to do is go to that site, go to our site, and they can see the restaurants that will qualify out. The call to action for that is simply for them to click, and we can keep track of how many clicks we get on our site for that as well. So that we feel is very important. Okay. A lot of online advertising is being done, a lot of display ads. They, again, are very targeted to the market specific. That's part of our digital strategy. And when people search, the more we have of the online display advertising, the more when they search, the more our our ad comes up at the top. So we're in their face even more. Overall, social media, we need the consistency for brand recognition. Facebooks, we have people that like us, 3,752 people, or likes, as they say, on Twitter. We have, so far, in 2011, we picked up 724 followers, which is when we started it. Today, we have over 2,600 followers. Overall, our online traffic for all the marketing that we do is up 49.1% over last year. Our web visits alone year-to-date through September 12th are up 66% over last year. So we're feeling real good about that, and we know people are looking at that for marketing. Now, we also remarket, so they may have gone on our website, looked something up, but we also retarget them through display ads. It's still the digital strategy, but if they don't make a request, then the system follows them back through and follows them back through to have them come back again, and so we have another chance to get in their face. Again, all of this is part of the digital strategy, remarketing, and we need to continue that to be the first one that they think of. We have a winter campaign coming up. We've done several campaigns since the bid has started. I'm going to talk about those in a few minutes. But the one we have coming up for the winter campaign now, that our bid board has said, we need to look a lot more at the months when we don't have a lot of room night sales in Sioux Falls. And I probably don't have to tell you which months those are, when people don't exactly love to come into South Dakota. But new for 2012, 2013 is our winter co-op, and what we did was we wrote a $200,000 promotion, and we went to South Dakota Tourism and we said, match us $100,000 to $100,000 for this promotion, and they did it. They agreed to it. So we will have a winter co-op going out. We will be advertising online in the Oprah magazine, which is where we get more feedback from anywhere. Also Midwest Living, of course, Facebook and our website, reaching over 20 million people in our plan. We will also have inserts in Fargo, Rochester, Sioux City, Council Bluffs, Des Moines, Omaha, and Lincoln, as well as TV in those locations. We'll have new interactive video banners, Google Display Network, and then ultimately it will be a sweepstakes, so that 4 people will be chosen to come to Sioux Falls, and they'll win the package. Our partners with that, although we're doing all the marketing for that, our partners are the Ramkota, Downtown Sioux Falls, the Arena and Orpheum, Grill 26, the Diner, and Minerva's. And so those people will all win tickets and meals and such at those places. We did Experience Sioux Falls as one of our programs in 2011, and that was a photo and video contest that involved them submitting theirs, and that reached a 5-state area and 1.2 million households. When it was flooding back in 2011, we did a campaign through Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Kansas, and Des Moines, and also over TripAdvisor, hitting over 40 million travelers, letting them know that Sioux Falls, South Dakota is not flooding. Come and visit. Then we did Falls Football and Fun. We did a partnership with the Minnesota Vikings. Out of that partnership, we had all kinds of advertising through a billboard, online banner, radio spots, in their program, their yearbook, their game day program, on their Facebook page, email blasts, and also their unique landing page. Then they also did a lot of tweeting about it. We gave away a package for 6 at the end of that. They got to come to Sioux Falls, spend an afternoon with Jasper Brinkley. It was supposed to be Chad Greenway, but his father was ill, so Jasper Brinkley came, and a family from Indiana won and had a ball. I don't think we could have had better advertising than that family. 6.4 million people exposed to Sioux Falls through that ad campaign. Again, we had several partners that worked with us on that campaign. And Midwest Living magazine, which I think I'm going to start having Krista pass some of these magazines around. The reason I want you to see these is because this is just a sample of the advertising that we're now able to do nationally on behalf of Sioux Falls that we could not do before. And I want you to note that in every single one that has anything to do with meetings, conventions, events, the minute the event center vote took place, the very next day, In every one of our ads, it says, new event center coming 2014. We also, the day after the vote took place, we sent a media release out to all the national magazines that we do business with, and we did a formal announcement, and we actually had articles in national magazines saying this is coming in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So we'll talk about the event center a little bit, but yes, that's important, and you'll see a lot of that in the magazines. Okay, then we did the Sioux Falls Pays When You Stay. Wow, did that ever turn out to be something else? We put together a package with U.S. bank cards, reward cards, and we advertised, come to Sioux Falls and stay, turn in your hotel bill showing proof that you stayed in a Sioux Falls hotel, and we'll give you a $25 gift card. Well, the bid board approved that for 500 gift cards. We had to go back to them for another 500 gift cards. It was so overwhelmingly successful. We had to go back a third time and get 338 more cards, and then we absolutely had to stop it because we were just getting flooded. But we took care of everybody, and believe it or not, we're already getting calls asking if we're going to do it again. So $25 versus the amount of money they spent in the community. The end result was that 5.8 million people saw our advertising in Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Not bad, not bad. Bring Your Meeting Home, that was more of a local campaign, and that was getting out to local people saying, here's what the CVB can do for you, here are our facilities, bring your meeting home. The Heart of America campaign was one that we launched up in Canada. And that was, we know the Canadians are coming down into the United States. We want them to come down into South Dakota. We targeted their feeder markets. We had approximately 19,494,000 people that were reached by our advertising, including network and cable TV, newspapers, online, direct e-blasts, and miscellaneous print ads. And we tied Chicago into that market as well, and they both just exploded with responses. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to start skipping a little bit here. We also do sales blitzes in Chicago and Washington, D.C., where we go and we meet one-on-one with the planners, and we are actually booking conventions out of those blitzes. You know, we had the travel writers here this summer. I can't say enough about what that's done. We've got a binder like this already of articles that are being written nationally about Sioux Falls. We have been represented at 95 trade and travel show site visits since the bid was created. We did 28 of them in 2011. We already have 34 booked for 2013, and that's with no site visits yet, no bids yet. That just shows that we need to be at to represent Sioux Falls. Some of the things that we booked since the bid took effect, we brought TMS here, the travel writers. We're bringing the National Guard, Enlisted Association people here, 2,000 people next summer. The National Fireworks Convention, never been here before. That was a Ramcota lead that they asked us to work with them on. 1,550 people coming here next summer. Small Market Meetings Conference. We were able to bring here, that is meeting planners who will come here and have their own conference. So we'll be host to them right here in our own city. That's in 2013 as well. 2015, we booked a National Association of County Ag Agents. We're this far from booking the National American Choral Directors. We don't want anybody to know that. And we've also booked the National Association of State Aviation Officials. The Vietnam Veterans National Convention is this far from booking. We have our fingers crossed. Also, the American Coalition of Ethanol is doing a site visit here in November, and the list goes on and on. So sales are they're rocking and rolling. We also have several tentatives still out there. We have about 36,144 room nights of tentative business that's still being worked on. We continue to service all of our groups with name tags, etc. We go out to the rest stops, do the welcomes. We are welcoming the hunters again as usual. And Winter Wonderland, Falls Park, oh my gosh. We are up 4,775 people as of today at Falls Park over last year. Interesting. Here are the top states that signed in at Falls Park: South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Missouri, Illinois, Texas, Michigan, and California. Here are the top countries that signed in at Falls Park. Canada, number 1. Germany, number 2. Australia, number 3. The UK, Norway, Brazil, Philippines, Japan, Finland, France and Switzerland, Netherlands, and New Zealand. It's crazy. And they think we don't have international travel in Sioux Falls. All right. We sent out 9,297 visitor requests just this summer from people wanting to know about Sioux Falls. They were planning their vacations. The number 1 producing interest magazine where we place ads is Oprah. Time and time again, it's Oprah, and then it goes to Midwest Living, and then the AAA advertising. I just have to tell you that Canada's right at the top again, and then India, Germany, Brazil, Portugal, and the UK tie for number 2. Okay, Krista. Yeah. Well, this is an ad that we put out to South Dakota newspapers to thank the agricultural community for doing business in Sioux Falls and for visiting Sioux Falls. This is a full-page ad you may have seen in the Argus. After all this is over, you know what? We need to thank the people of Sioux Falls, because without all the volunteers and all the people who step up, like Kenny did with the national softball tournaments and the Jazz Fest and, you know, everything, we need to thank the people of Sioux Falls for making this a number 1 host city. Also, this is really exciting. USA Today. Without the bid, you would have never seen Sioux Falls, South Dakota in a USA Today ad saying, come to Sioux Falls, book your meetings here. And then we followed it up with another one. This is a shot of the Ramkota banquet space when they did a big banquet out there, Meet in the Heart of America. And at every one of these, new event center opening fall of 2014. Also, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. This was a special sports destinations management, which is a major sports magazine, did an interview with us, and this was the article from inside the newspaper. Note our full-page ad on the back. Look at this on the front. Event Center and the Sanford complex. Here's the whole article. And it says, the heart of America stays ahead of the sporting game. That was in National Magazine. And then here's another one that we take to trade shows and conferences now, trying to let people know what's new in Sioux Falls since maybe we've seen you last time. We tell them on the back about what's new, but on the front, all about the Event Center, the Sanford Sports Complex, and the Greenway Project. Okay. All right. I think I better quit. But Blood Run, we're working on that. That's going to be an incredible thing for Sioux Falls. We continue to work with Mike Cooper on the Russell Avenue banner program, the beautification. We look forward to hopefully getting a visitor center out in the airport, plus a couple other locations in town. The Event Center and the Sanford Complex, we've met with all the people involved in those so that we can together start marketing even more and be able to go out. Like I said, since day 1 of the Event Center, we sent that press release out, and we've been pounding the pavement on that ever since then. And then, of course, the Shields expansion. And I could go on with all the wonderful things that are happening. And as those things happen, those are the things that give us the fuel and the energy and the passion to go out and sell more. So that's just a little snippet of what's gone on since the bid became a reality. We thank you very sincerely. We're really proud to be out selling Sioux Falls, and because of your efforts and your commitment to allow us to do that, we're working hard to bring more business, and you are going to see more business come to Sioux Falls, things that have never come here before. Okay, Jim, I went overtime. You knew I would. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Terry? Greg? Councilor Jameson?
That's all right, Jim. Terry, yeah, settle down. It doesn't seem like you're excited about this at all.
Sorry.
What was your budget before the bid? I've got the budget. Everybody should have a copy of it. 1.6 now. Is that what you're proposing?
We budgeted about 1.5 for the bid. And before the bid, it was whatever the room tax generated, and that was hitting around $700-800.
So you really doubled in your revenue that you're allocated to spend.
Yes. And we have certainly doubled our activity level, if not even more, due to our partners that still jump in and work with us.
In Rapid City, do you know, what do they have?
Who?
I know.
I think they're still a little bit more than we are.
Are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not much, though.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions? Sue, please.
I understand, Terry, that there's going to be a change in our relationship with the Empire Mall. Could you explain what's happening there, and will we have a relationship?
Yes, our relationship is changing at the Empire Mall. As you know, a few years ago, we invested $20,000 to create a visitor center at the Empire Mall, largely due to the efforts of Don McLaughlin, who has since passed away, and Chrissy Spoo, who was the marketing person at the mall at that time. And they very much saw the need for us to come out there and be a partner. So we did that. We were notified several weeks ago that we would need to remove our things because they were going to change the middle area where we were located. And they offered some options. They were going to take their guest services center down in front of Halberstadt's, and they've got a small kiosk there now. And, you know, they were working with us on what ways we could work with them at that kiosk. And then last week, at the end of the week, we were notified that we needed to come right now and get our things out because a new tenant was moving into our space. And so someone moved in, we immediately got our stuff out of there, the signs are down, everything. They still are offering us to have like a table situation next to their kiosk where the wheelchairs are, and we could put brochures and things out there. They've also said maybe they do something in the entrances. And as you know, today they made an announcement that they're going to be redoing a lot of the mall. So we're in communications with them on this. I don't know where it's going to go, to be very honest with you, because after we did what we did and the community all came together in much excitement to make that happen, and frankly, right now, we are, all of our advertisers out there who, you know, they invested money to advertise their brochures and things out there, we are now going to be refunding money because we contracted with them through March. So that is what I know as of right now.
Would there be another location other than, I mean, I know that's just a
Other than
high
the mall?
traffic, yeah, high
Yes.
traffic.
We have two other locations that are very high traffic that we're
Looking at?
talking to,
Okay, and,
Please.
in addition to the airport.
okay. Where do you get the map?
Where do we get it?
No, where do you, if you're someone.
If you're a visitor?
Yeah, well, this is the first time I've ever seen the map.
Oh.
I'd like to have the map.
Well, you can certainly get it at the Falls Park Visitor Information Center or our office, but it should be at almost every hotel and attraction in town. Some gas stations, gosh, all the high traffic areas. Thank you very much. You now have your own.
I was going to
Thank
say, I
you.
could bring her one, too. I have a
Yes,
lot
you
of
could. You have a lot of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
them. Councilor Anderson, please.
Terry, as you talked about some of our sporting opportunities that we've had here, national tournaments and everything, whether they be softball, soccer, baseball, explain what the CVB does with the nonprofit groups that go out and bid this. It's not our city officials that go out and bid these tournaments and events. It's actually nonprofit groups
Yes.
here in Sioux Falls. How do you support them?
Okay, well, a perfect example would be like the Sioux Falls People for Youth or the local soccer association. The minute they say, hey, we want to bid on a tournament, we say, what do you need? We'll work with them on any planning, helping them put together a bid, which is a sales presentation, typically in a binder, something like this. We'll travel with them. We'll help them prepare campaign-type things that are used at the bid site. We'll help them in preparing videos to be presented during the bid. We will even be as crazy as singing songs to get a bid. We buy things like for a softball. Every year we take these big bags, or the big netted shopping bags, and they have Sioux Falls on them, and they're bright orange, and everybody knows that they're going to get that from Sioux Falls, and that's what we use to promote ourselves at that bid location. Sometimes we even put some financial assistance ahead if we can to help with them to secure that. But the local organizations like the soccer, like the softball, they work so hard and they do it all. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't bring this stuff here because they're the ones that make it happen. And so we're there to just be support, to lead the sales if they would like us to do anything in the sales area that they want us to do. And then once the tournaments are here, we'll again work in any way we can to help welcome, promote, run errands, whatever it is they need. Does that answer what you want?
Well,
Okay.
to continue on to that, explain what they're up against. It's not like we just fill out an application and the event is issued to the city. It's actually working against other cities a lot larger than Sioux Falls.
Absolutely.
And the type of support that they bring, Parks Department, planning, their CVB, we'll have 8 to 12 other cities bidding for like these youth events that we've been getting. And it's just amazing how, working with the CVB, that these nonprofit groups have been able to year in and year out bring these type of events to Sioux Falls, which generates tens of millions of dollars in sales tax revenue. So I'm very proud of what you guys do. And
thank you.
And Councilman Edelman, I wasn't quite sure when this bid board was started exactly how it was going to work, but I think it's been an extremely positive thing for Sioux Falls and and the surrounding area.
Great, thank you. Councilor Rolfing, please.
Thank you. Terry, since serving on your boards and as chairman, part of your, I guess it was because I was elected here, but one of the things that's always been a question in my mind is why your year goes different than the budget, the annual year of the chamber.
Sure.
and our. Is there anything that we can do to help alleviate that situation? Well, there's got to be.
You're
somehow.
right, you're right. I mean, the chamber, we are under the big umbrella of the Chamber of Commerce, okay? We're not funded by the chamber, we're funded by you, by the taxes. But since we're under that organizational structure, we fall into their accounting procedures, and their year is October 1 to October 1. Well, the city's is January. And when the bid board was formed, Jim Entenman led some charges to sit down with accounting with Tracy and try to work it out. And I think it's fair to say that we all left agreeing that it was going to stay the way it is.
Yeah.
And
One of those immovable forces against a force of immovables?
Yeah, and maybe Director Cooper can address this a little bit too, but there were some agreements that were reached in the past dealing with the chamber when the CVB was first formed, and it did fall under the umbrella of the chamber and support from the city. And it has been a successful partnership. And as such, it's not to say it isn't going to change in the future, but in the spirit of getting this thing done, getting it passed, and putting it to work for us, this is one of those consolations that we did make in getting this passed.
Okay. Well, I knew that was the situation, but now that it's working, I was wondering if maybe we could take a look at.
We look at it every year.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Kermit, please.
Yes.
Councilor Stevens.
Terry, when I go to other cities, I always take a look at my hotel bill afterwards to see the taxes and so forth that are imposed on visitors. Sioux Falls, how do we compare with other cities as far as the additional?
we're so low.
Okay.
We're so low, it's almost silly. I mean, we have 1%, basically. 1% room tax, just the room tax. But, and
Now, is this $2? Is this part of the bill so people see that
Yes, yes, it is.
So they see that? Okay.
Yes, but, a lot of cities are like 15, 17% room tax, just the room tax.
Yeah.
Plus then perhaps a bid type fee or et cetera. But we're very low.
Any more questions? Counselor Rolfing,
Counselor
please.
Staggers, just for your information, I was out of town last week, and I got a hotel room for $180. When I picked up the tab in the morning, it was $214.
Oh,
$34 tax on 180. I don't know, I can't, but that's got to be what, 15, 16% or more?
What was that at, Rex?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah.
They had a beautiful downtown, by the way.
not prettier than ours.
Well, it was larger, but it was really nice. They had a real nice deal. But anyway,
Counselor Jamieson, please.
Terry, when you essentially doubled your dollars that you had available, did you hire new people? Did you just, so in essence, $700-some thousand additional money was spent on marketing?
Absolutely.
And website and other.
Absolutely. I may add a salesperson next year. I mean, we've got so much going on, it's really, we're spread pretty thin sometimes now. But no, as of right now, no added staff.
What, if I might interject, what the bid tax has allowed us to do was to partner and actually, with the state of South Dakota, for example, Department of Tourism and the co-op programs that Terry talked about, the bid tax has really allowed us the ability to take and even improve the way that we're able to attract people. It's allowed us to take and expand our approach with the co-op dollars that we have, and it's been very successful. The state, for a number of years, has we're a little bit different in the state of in the city of Sioux Falls versus the rest of the state. The state is divided in tourism into districts, and those districts are funded partially by the state, as well as by private monies through their different associations. Also, the state focuses a lot on state tourism, and of course, as we all know, the flagship for South Dakota is Mount Rushmore, the Black Hills, and the Crazy Horse area, and that area out there. And that does get the bulk of the focus in South Dakota tourism. Sioux Falls is really a little island all onto itself when it comes to state tourism. We deal with the visitor business in this state. And I think that's what's key, and that's what's really allowed us, because of the bid, to get out there and promote the visitor business, where we have multiple nights in Sioux Falls. People come in for different events, like softball tournaments, like the downtown Sioux Falls, the River Greenway, which has helped to accent all of that stuff. It's all about the visitor business for us, and that's what the bid has done, has allowed us to do. And Terry, I'd like to thank you and your staff. I believe you've done just an excellent job. I think the budget that we have before us, Director Cooper, if I'm not mistaken, that will be presented tonight. And this is our 12-month budget. It's an extremely conservative budget. It's no more than what we had budgeted last year. We are expecting growth. We will tell you that Terry will be before you in the future as additional dollars are identified for a supplemental appropriation, and at that time she'll also tell you what those funds will be used for as we go forward. Correct, Terry?
Correct. And just so you know, the bid budget first is approved by the bid board, then by the CVB Council, then by the Chamber Budget and Finance Committee, then by the Chamber Board, and then by you, and then by the mayor and the council tonight.
So it's been scrubbed a couple of times.
It's been scrubbed and scrubbed, yes.
Thank you, Terry. Are there any other questions? Mike, any other comments?
Thank
Okay,
you
I
all.
think that's it. Thank you, Terry, and thank you for all of the support folks that were here with her. Thank you very much. That being said, I believe, is there any other business to come before us? No. I adjourn this meeting.